I think with this training series that I put together, and I'm calling it shortages, I think it's going to be extremely useful over the next course of, again, 3 to 4 trainings that we do together, because it really looks at certain products. Now, some of them are going to be your top sellers, and some are going to be like your multivitamin. The benefit here, and where I'm going to take this, is it's going to be a nice overview, a general education overview into certain products. And then it's also, because of that overview, it's going to give us some sales ammo, but also solution ammo. I know some people don't like to call it sales. I'm a sales guy. I'm selling something, right? But it also is about the solution. It's about providing a solution based on if there are certain shortages. So that's what I want to do with this training series. And then ultimately, yes, we will dig into product, but a lot of it is going to be heavy on the education and how we can use that to build a solution, and then highlight certain products that will be in this training series. Because at the end of the day, no one wants to be short anything. You can talk about faith, family, friends, happiness, money, whatever it is. No one wants to be short that. And I'm not here to give you a lifestyle coaching series here. And I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is say, hey, it's the same thing with members and clients that are coming in, busting their butt, either working with you or just coming in and have goals. We don't want them to be short anything, right? We want them to get results. We want them to have the best ability to reach their goals of why they're there and the hard work they're putting in. So with that being said, let's start out with the first thing I want to do is define supplement. When you talk about supplement, what is it? Well, in general, definition-wise, it's adding on or it's addition. Another word that I like is it's a complement to something. In general, supplements, it's not to replace exercise. It's not to replace nutrition. Although some people will market it and put it out there as the greatest, latest thing where you don't need to exercise. No, what supplements is designed to do that. Supplement exercise. Listen, you're going to have a need to supplement things because of how you're exercising and your goals. And then you're also going to have benefits through nutrition because you're going to need to supplement because you may have certain gaps or you may be eating a certain way based on trying to lose weight. So with that being said, that is all going to set the case for supplementation. And this is where I'm going to take you through this series, and we're going to dig into certain product groups and types of products. And the first one is going to be the multivitamin, because that's always number one in my opinion. And I really want to look at this from, okay, what do we need to know about this particular product that we have shortages on? Because that's going to lead to how we can best talk about the solution, how we can get that message across and get people to see the value of that. First thing to address a shortage, well, we are going to have shortages through exercise. You guys know this. Exercise is a good stress. It's an important stress to put on our body because it helps us, break down and build up to something better through muscle tissue and changing our body. But when we exercise, you know this. You're breaking down the body. You're going to have the need. You're using up energy stores. You're going to have a need to refuel, replenish. You're going to have to rebuild. You're going to be knocking things down, and you got to build that up. Build up the muscle tissue. You got to repair it. You got to protect. If you're breathing more, and hopefully if you're exercising, you're doing it right, and you're putting your body into a great stress, you are going to be breathing harder, so you're taking in more oxygen, and you're going to need some free radical protections. When you look at that, certainly this is where multivitamin is really a great solution, and it's one that's often missed, especially in clubs, because it's not the easiest thing to come out the gates with and say, hey, you need to get on a multivitamin. Where it's easier to say, hey, you need to get on a meal replacement, Susie. You're only doing 2 to 3 meals a day. We got to get you, something in between and get you maximizing your weight loss. So, that conversation is a little bit different. But these shortages allow us to effectively educate people in where that importance comes. Now, the biggest part too, when you talk about multivitamins, and I'm not even going to talk about our Daily Essentials right now, I'm just talking about in general, biggest need is from dietary shortages. Okay, so that's the next thing we need to talk about, and this is stuff that's probably not too new to you guys. You look at all the research out there. You can go to PubMed, you can go National Institutes of Health, you can pull up all kinds of different research, and I am going to show you some today, but you can go anywhere, and you're going to see the same theme going on. Listen, no one's eating perfect. Even if you call what's called a good diet by the USDA, about 10% are doing that level, and only about 17% are eating enough dang fruit a day. people just aren't eating good. I mean, a lot of you listening to this call do eat healthy, do eat really good. But there are going to be times where you're going to miss it, or you're going to cheat, or you're going to do this. Or you're not going to know if that particular fruit you're eating is going to get you enough of what you need. And then you talk about the general population, who's even by far worse. We know that there's definitely shortages going on in nutrition. Now, some of those shortages are things based on evolution of, how agricultural is, with how it's grown, the technology, all the different equipment that's able to turn and get crop off as quickly as possible, grow as much crop as possible with fertilizers and genetics and all these things going on, has definitely taken out nutrients out of our soil. And some of the research is showing by as much as 20%, and that actually comes from the USDA. So that's one, obviously, issue before we even get into the next one, which is how is our food prepared and stored? So before we even get to the level of getting it off of a field, per se, and getting it into preparing it and storage it into the foods that we're going to eat, there's up to 30% nutrient loss right there. So we definitely know that the adequacy of our food from just a few decades ago has changed. Basically, we know that it's not always going to get the nutrients that we need or expect. Now, there is different industries of, well, yes, you can get everything you need through food alone by eating all organic or eating as much natural food as possible and seeking out organic and all those different things. And I'm not here to say that that's wrong as far as that's what you want to do. I mean, yeah, you want to eat as much fruits and vegetables as possible. Natural is by far the best way to go, but it ain't easy, and most people aren't going to do it. What else is out there? This is my favorite thing, because when I started out in the industry 15, 16 years ago as a trainer, I grabbed this sucker and I ran with it. And even before this came out in 2002 by the Journal of American Medical Association, it was my belief that everyone needed to be on a multivitamin. That stuck with me from the time that growing up and having cancer and fighting that and getting educated and researching myself and not listening to people in college telling you otherwise and really realizing, you know what? There is a benefit. And then when this came out, it just further stuck with me that it's to the point where when you have a big body like this, JAMA, coming out and saying, you know what, and this was huge in 2002, people are not getting enough vitamins, and the risk factor for chronic diseases, and I want you to think cancer, and I want you to think osteoporosis and arthritis, all those different things you can think of, certainly plays a role, and it's common in the population. Now, furthermore, this is the big thing they came out with and said, you know what? Not everyone consumes enough vitamins by diet alone. And here's my story I want to share with you on this. I hope you can see where this can go. I had the fortunate gig right before this article came out in 2002 to become a fitness director at arguably the nicest facility in southeastern Wisconsin. It was a beautiful facility. I was excited about it. I got the gig. I was going to be the fitness director. And the unique thing about this facility was it was an integrated medical facility. So they had a sports medicine doctor in there. They had physical therapy in there. And they had a registered dietitian in there. If you ever have the ability to talk to a registered dietitian, there's no gray area. There is absolutely food only. And then there's the other spectrum of some registered dietitians that understand you can't get people to eat absolutely 100% perfect. The particular one that I was working with was old school. Like, she had a small clientele base, and she was old school, dictated every single meal, every single micronutrient, macronutrient. I decided when I came in there, I'm bringing supplements in. They never had supplements. And this was the start to my career of working with supplements. And I said, you know what, I got to bring it in because it's important. And you want to talk about meeting the devil? I mean, I remember this vividly in the ownership meeting. I swear I looked at her and her eyes turned black and she just got shaky and red. Said, you guys, you cannot sell supplements in here. You cannot even talk about supplements to people, and just going nuts about it. And thank God the ownership said, well, we're going to try it. And when they saw the extra revenue, which is really nice, and the PT numbers grow, and the results of the members and the excitement and all these things that was going on, eventually she actually left and got out of her role there. And they actually, to this day, do not have a registered dietitian in there again. And I'm not saying that's what I wanted to come out of it or what needed to come out of it, because there is tremendous value to registered dietitians. But what I'm saying is, and what I'm trying to make a point here with this story is, listen, it's to a point now where it's recognized by the medical community. It is recognized by a lot of registered dietitians, especially in our fitness industry with people that are moving and have a lot of goals. It's important that we do talk about a high quality multivitamin. You got to make sure there's no gaps, and especially with nutrition, where most people fall short, got to make sure that they get the nutrients back in them. How do you do this? Here's probably one of my favorite ways to do this, because now I want to get into the solution side. If we know there's those shortages that are going to happen, and just about everyone has them, how in our environment, in your environment, can we talk about that? Because it's not always a hot thing to talk about a multivitamin. Listen, we talked about protein and meal replacements and pre-workouts and things like that. They're easy to talk about and get people into them. Multivitamin, a little bit different. And here's what I like to say is, listen, 2 pills a day or 2,700 calories. Which one do you want to manage? And here's why. There's a research that was done, 40 registered dietitians from US, Canada, had the task of within 2,200 calories and 2,400 calories coming up with, using the software, coming up with a meal plan that gets all the micronutrients, vitamins and minerals that are recommended into that meal plan. And if you've heard this before and I've showed you the research before, you know the outcome. They were unable to complete that task. They couldn't do it. And they couldn't do it until they got to a level over 4,000 calories. In some research, it's 30,000 calories to get all the recommended dietary intake of these nutrients. It can get up to 30,000 calories. But when you look at the 2,700 calorie mark, where did that come from? That comes from the recommended dietary intake of basically the most important, only the most important vitamins and minerals. So vitamin A, C, calcium, iron, vitamin D, vitamin E, and B vitamins. And if you look at, okay, so how do you get to that number? Well, take a look at the best sources of these. So like vitamin A, sweet potato, B vitamins, tuna and things like that. Based on what you have to get, how much do you have to eat? And when you take those 8 most important vitamins and minerals that have the most importance in our body, you would have to consume 2,700 calories of these foods that are on here. Now, with how your life is and how busy you are and everything you got going on, and can you prepare, can you do all this stuff, which is going to be easier. 2 pills of a multivitamin, right? To make sure you got a therapeutic dosages of those key nutrients, right? So the question is, I like to talk about with members and clients is, how are you going to get all your micronutrients? Here's what's recommended. Do you have a game plan? No, I don't have a game plan. I don't know. Here's the sources of food. Now, you could do that, or you could get on a multivitamin and make sure you got your gaps covered. And you're still going to eat healthy, but you don't have to worry about how many servings of spinach am I eating. Am I getting 6.5 cups to get my folate in, right? So I love this message. I love this type of way. And hopefully you see that as when you're talking about a multivitamin, it's really just talking about that solution. This is what you do is you talk about, listen, people have gaps. It's hard to eat perfect. You got to be aware of everything you put in your mouth to make sure you get all those vitamins and nutrients because it's so important. Why not take a multivitamin and make sure you don't have any gaps? So that's kind of my philosophy on this particular slide. The one thing I do want to do is talk about the product, of course. And when we talk about Daily Essentials, we got to talk about what it is. I mean, of course we do. And it's important, but it's not as much importance as the beginnings of this training was all about what? Shortages. Shortages because of nutrition. Shortages because of exercise, which leads to the why. Because listen, if you don't understand the why, or you don't see the why, or you don't know how to show the why, it's tough to sit here and say, here's a great multivitamin and want everyone to take a multivitamin. You got to get that why across. That's why I spent some time really digging into, I hope you see the why, I hope you understand it, and I hope you can showcase the why by saying, how are you going to get these nutrients in? Your exercise, no one eats perfect, I get it, right? So that all leads to this is, okay, well, we have a solution for you. Now you could talk about what it is. We have a high-quality multivitamin, Daily Essentials. What's cool about it is it's a multivitamin, but it's also a mineral and antioxidant support. And that's a key thing. It's also time release, so you get as much of the absorption as you can. And it's natural. It's not synthetic vitamins. Because, listen, if multivitamin is so important and we want as many people taking it as possible, are all of them created equally? No. I mean, you know this. It ain't the same as going to Walmart and grabbing the one a day that's full of synthetic and very little absorption. So you have a natural vitamin, so it'll be higher absorption. And then the why you take it, this is where I hope you guys can drive this message and talk about plugging nutrition gaps. because we just talked about where those gaps are coming in through nutrition and exercise. And that's such a key talking point because we're selling in your environment. I'm going to go back to this. There's got to be that why, because most people know, nowadays take a multivitamin for health or immune system. It's absolutely important. But take it for your body. Take it for changing your body. Because if you're breaking down something like breaking down your muscle tissue and you don't have enough nutrients, what's going to happen? You just wasted your time. I mean, we want to build up. We want to maintain muscle tissue. And we want to plug those nutritional gaps. We want to feel better. We want more energy and focus, right? The Daily Essentials is high in B vitamins, which help metabolize protein, carbs, and fats for energy. How I absolutely love selling this product, if someone's buying a protein, you can tag a Daily Essentials onto that. Tag the $20 60 count onto any product someone orders. Make sure that conversation is there. And why I say that is, if you have any shortage of gaps, that product may not be as effective as it could be. Because listen, micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals play a role in every part of the body. They play a role in digestive health, metabolism, recovery, immune system. I mean, boom, boom, boom. And if you have gaps and you have no idea if you got that covered, that protein that you think you're putting in your body may not be used as effective as possible. I know that might be a bold statement, but think about that. If you're not making sure you have enough nutrients that your body needs to function on all levels, at all capacity, and then you're taking certain products, you may not be getting the most out of it that you can. So make sure you're taking that Daily Essentials to get all those nutrient gaps covered, to get you the energy and focus, to metabolize nutrients, to metabolize that protein you're putting in your body, to help your digestion be better. That's where you dig into a lot of the why, and the why take it that's up here. I wanted to hopefully drive that home with the shortages. Looking at the shortages of where we're definitely short through our dietary intake, also the types of foods that are out there now, and then through exercise, we're moving, we have the need to recover. All those shortages really solve and get us into the why take it and drive that message to members and clients, because if we do that, and I know it works, obviously do a couple things. Number one, it affects sales, right? If you can sell a protein and 50 to 60% of the proteins you're selling are coming with the Daily Essentials, that's good for everyone. That's good for your business. That's good for the club, the company. But it's also good at the end of the day for that member or client. It's good for them. It's good for them because it's going to help impact their success and make sure that they got something that is going to be beneficial to them. So that's kind of the main point there that I want to drive home. So what we'll do as we move forward, we're going to keep on this theme of shortages, and we're going to dig into a couple more products next time and really look at what is the shortage, where's the solution, and what is the product, and how we can drive that home. So I hope this was beneficial to you. I hope you see value in how you can promote the Daily Essentials with some of those other key products that you're selling. And let's face it, there is an art to selling the Daily Essentials, and those points that we talked about and providing the solution based on the shortages that are occurring with people's exercise and nutrition, it makes it an easy window to say, hey, here's why we talk about this Daily Essentials. So I appreciate your time, guys.